Hello, so today we'll continue where we left off from the Supabase integration. We're going to be using Retell, Supabase, and Stripe as well. So you'll have to set up the Stripe account into your make.com. And for Supabase, we'll need a customer table with some information about the name, a company code, sort of like a passcode, and then their email. And then we'll make another table called transaction, where we'll list out all the transactions that we've done. Now we'll start off by creating a function for Retell AI. So we'll call this when the customer asks to buy a certain amount of a specific product or item. And we'll also need the company name and the company code. We'll create a webhook called the Retell Purchase Hook. And go ahead and copy the address, save, plug the address in, and go ahead and save this for now. We'll grab all the parameters that we created in the last function, and we'll paste them here. Now we won't need the type field, which you need to amount. The value of this will be amount of the item the customer wants to buy. And then we'll also need to add in company name, the name of the company. And then we'll also need the company code, the code for the company. Now in required, we want to change this to amount, and then we want to add in company name and the company code. Go ahead and format that. Alright, go ahead and update. Now our function has been set up, and we can start creating the automation. Now we want to select some rows from the inventory table. We want to make sure that the name is, well, we have to first execute it. Before I do that, let me just create the other select that we need, which is the customer, or the company rather, the company's information. We'll filter that by checking the name and the code of the company. For now, we'll save that and just run it once. I ran out of audio time, so I'm just going to use the LLM. We'll ask to buy 3 oranges, and then it's going to ask the company name and company code. I already set up a company here called testing company, and the code is right. As you can see, it ran right through. So let's go ahead and set up all the information we need. So name would be the item. Go ahead and save that. The customer, company rather. The name would have to equal the company name, and the code will be the company code. Go ahead and save that. And now from here, we want to branch out. So flow control, router. Now, if, say the company's trying to make a purchase, but we don't have enough of an item, we want to say that it's a failure at that point. So let's go ahead and say, if the amount that they want is greater than the quantity that we have, then we want to send a response back saying the result was a failure. We can also add another condition that says if we don't have enough, or if we did not find any company with the name and the code that was provided. So total number of bundles is not equal to 1, which means we either didn't find any or we found too many, at which point either one is wrong, so we have to send the result as a failure. Otherwise, you don't have to put any filters here because the execution code will just go down here if this did not work. Just to be clear, we'll go ahead and add the conditions for this as well. So it will be the opposite of the other one's filter. So here we'll check if the amount that they're requesting is less than or equal to the quantity that we have, and the total number of bundles is equal to 1. You can leave this as text, you can change it to numeric if you want, either one will be fine. Go ahead and save that. And now that we have enough item to sell, and now the company is a valid company, we can go ahead and process all the Stripe stuff. So the first thing we'll need to do is search for the customer. I already have my Stripe connection set up. You'll have to do this if you haven't already. Now we'll need to use the email address that we get from this module. So email. And before we create the other Stripe stuff, let's go ahead and run it once so we can get the values of what we're working with. We can just ask it to run that purchase again, and it looks like it ran through. This time it went up here. Oh, I don't have enough oranges to sell. So let's go ahead and make that 10, and then we'll try again. This time we went to Stripe, And we got the customer ID, which we'll need later on. Let's go ahead and do another stripe. This time we'll make a invoice item. So let's go ahead and create an invoice item. We'll use the customer ID that we got from the search customers. Input an amount, we'll do unit amount quantity. So unit amount is going to be 50 cents, the price that we got from our search rows. Now you want to multiply this by 100 because they're asking for cents, and this is in dollars. So let's go ahead and find the multiplication operator and then multiply by 100. So that's how much the price for one is, unit amount. And we want to purchase 3 oranges. So we put amount there. Currency will be USD. And for description, you can put anything you want. Here, I'll just put in phone purchase. Phone purchase. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now that we have an invoice item, we'll need to create an invoice. So let's create an invoice. Customer ID is going to be the same. And we'll set an invoice instead. And we'll do maybe like 7 days until it's due. Description, we can do the same thing. Phone purchase. Make sure the pending invoice item behaviors include. And we can go ahead and save that. Now that we have an invoice, to finalize the draft invoice, we'll go ahead and put the invoice ID from the previous module. Now that we have all the Stripe stuff done, we can go ahead and save all this to our database. And we're going to actually create a function. So we'll go ahead and do execute function. And let's go ahead and create the function. Go to database, functions. And we'll create a new function called phone purchase. Void return type. We'll go ahead and add the 4 arguments we'll need. The first one will be the item ID, and then the amount of the item. Then we'll need the company ID, and we'll need an invoice ID. We'll change invoice ID to a text. Now for the function, we'll do update inventory. We'll set the quantity to quantity minus the amount, where the ID of the item is the item ID that we passed in. Go ahead and add that query, and then we'll create a transaction by doing insert into transaction. We're going to be inserting the item ID, customer ID, paid status, and the invoice ID. Using the values item ID, custom company ID. Paid status is just going to be false because they haven't yet paid yet. We're just sending the invoice. And the invoice ID will be invoice ID, and we'll save that. And now in the Postgres module, we'll set up the function to be phone purchase. The invoice ID will be from Stripe. The item ID will be from the first select rows. The amount is from the webhook, and the company ID will be from the second select rows. We can go ahead and save that, and we can give a response back saying the result was a success. Alright, let's go ahead and run it once. Alright, now that's done, let's get invoice ID, WZF, and then go to invoices, 70 cents, and WZF. We bought 2 apples, so the apples went down to 11, and it was 70 cents. Thank you for watching. If you like these videos, give it a like, and subscribe if you want more. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below.